Hello and welcome to Working Together in a Dying World. My name is Boba and I'm here representing Fujocoded, a company dedicated to helping netizens take charge of their own web, starting with the coolest netizen of them all, fans of BL media, or more specifically, those who identify as Fujin. This is my second time at CitrusCon, so I won't go into the full story. That was last year's talk, which you can find in CitrusCon's archives or at my own website. The long story short is a few years ago, I quit my job in big tech to figure out what was making the internet suck so much and what I and the larger fandom community could do about it. This led me to create two organizations, Boba Board, which builds social software for fandom while introducing fans to sociocratic governance, and Fujocoded, which creates fun and engages ways to help fans learn technical skills. It's thanks to the experience of bringing up a horizontally run organization, producing Catboy-powered technical education books, running multiple successful fundraisers, and navigating the challenges of a company that's all about fixing the web, that I can come here today to confidently deliver a bold take. Shit's fucked. What? Oh my god, fucked up if true, am I right? Okay, jokes aside, as they say, everybody knows shit is fucked. And it's been fucked for, at the very, very least, the last 10 years, which is how much time has passed since the 2016 US election. Now, I know I am just full of good news today. So, as we established, we've been dealing with shit being fucked for a while. But if everybody knows shit's fucked, then here's my question to you. What is fucked? Now, some of you might be like, oh, Miss Boba, how much time do we have? And of course, we could be here the whole CitrusCon weekend listing the many delightful ways the world of today has decided to keep us on our toes. If asked to name a few, however, I imagine most people would immediately point to large-scale global trends like capitalism, fascism, climate change, and a general sense that something is deeply, deeply wrong with others. Now, these are all big, important, absolutely real, and definitely fucked up issues. But here's the challenge with focusing only on these trends. They are huge, nebulous, require enormous effort to grasp, and even then have no clear solutions. They leave us feeling powerless, in constant danger, lashing out at an enemy that feels at the same time unreachable and everywhere. And so, what if instead of focusing on issues like this, we looked inward to other still huge trends, less to do with big powers picking our planet for scraps and more to do with us and people like us. Now, before we go on, disclaimer. It may not seem like it yet, but I swear this talk isn't all a bummer. But before we get to hope, I do want to put a name to three issues most of us don't have a name for, and yet I believe most of us feel. The first one is the so-called epidemic of loneliness. Research shows people have been growing more lonely and isolated, a trend that started well before the pandemic and that has only partially recovered since. This is true both in real-life spaces, but also in online ones, where many of us have become less part of communities and more part of occasional ad hoc relationships. This is sad, obviously, but it also has real impact on both individual and society. Prolonged loneliness is associated with a higher rate of illnesses, both physical and mental, and it negatively impacts people's memory, attention, and decision making. It also leads people to become more sensitive to rejection, lash out more often, and become less likely to participate in civic activities or contribute to their communities. Second is the loss of shared meaning and institutions. As the world around us gets worse, the traditional social structure that offer people stability and meaning are also breaking down. These include close-knit communities, stable careers that give people a sense of identity and an extended social circle, faith in government and official organization, and more broadly, the overall hope that art, work, or higher levels of education could lead to a better life. Without this as their base, people are left to find their own meaning-making systems, often more radical and extreme. Having lost faith in each other and in official institutions, civic participation declines and then become more vulnerable to despair, disconnection, and polarization. And last in this list, a rising sense of individualism. There has been a noticeable shift from the collective to the individual. This is, as it has often been discussed, partly due to the disappearance of spaces where people would gather together, through spaces like community centers, civic organizations, shopping malls, and including digital ones like online forums. But more generally, the increased focus of our society on individual achievement, personal fulfillment, authentic self-expression, personal growth, and empowerment, all very positive, has inadvertently led to an increased framing of our social obligations and duty to others as impediments to our own personal happiness, rather than essential components of a meaningful life. This weakens our sense of mutual obligation and shared faith, and facilitates a more transactional and less resilient society, one that is less equipped to solve complex collective problems that require shared sacrifice and a robust sense of we. Now, I'm not saying that these issues explain all that's going wrong with the world, but if you pause to think about them, you can see they're a breeding ground where external, larger issues that we talked about before are left to fester and proliferate unchecked, while our society's immune system remains too weak to fight and contain them. If nothing else, if you were wondering what is wrong with people today, it is in no small part a combination of this. So now, for the hope part. How do we fix this? How do we go back or forward to a world where we feel connected with others? A world where we have institutions we cherish, nurture, and protect, that then cherish, nurture, and protect us back in return? And how do we get people to think about the collective interest in addition to the personal one? Now, if you know me, you may be like, Miss Boba is going to say community, isn't she? Well, yes, I am, but that's because I'm right. That's because when you think about a way to get people to connect with each other, to nurture a shared space that gives their life purpose and meaning, which then leads them to think about the shared needs of the collective rather than just their own, well, what is a community if not exactly that? But here's the thing, this talk is not about community, at least not directly. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what this idyllic world where everything sucks less looks like for you, or which specific path one believes will take to get us there. What matters is that there is only one way we can reach it, together. This makes our present problem not really how do we fix the world. The core of our problem is how do we fix anything as a group? In short, how do we collaborate? And boy, isn't that a pickle? In my experience, people love the idea of collaboration. We yearn to work with others on concrete projects that feel meaningful to our lives, in the same way that an omega craves the dominant touch of an alpha. Doing so in practice, however, is a different story. Most of us who have tried to organize others in collaborative groups came out the other side with the battle scratches to prove it. We call it herding cats for a reason. The reality is that community organizers are burning out in incredible rates. Dedicating yourself to wrangling others has never been an easy job, but in the world of today, no one, and I'm going to say this literally pointing to our Patreon, no one is paid enough to do so. This is not because people are bad or because collaboration is impossible. The word itself, the issues we talked about, not to mention our individual, collective, and even historical trauma, makes coming together a frustrating, maddening powder keg, ready to explode at a moment's notice. So, again, how do we fix this? As Sun Tzu says in The Art of War, know thy enemy. And in this war, there is one enemy, one specific pattern of dysfunctional interaction that we must get to know so we can recognize its devilish traps and finally escape them. And that is the drama triangle, here represented by the most dramatic triangle I know of, known by the cipher himself in all his acute glory. Now, this may look funny, and it is, but I want to stress, the drama triangle I'm about to illustrate is a real social model of human interaction, studied across disciplines. I might make it look sexy, but don't let that fool you. So, in order. Water first. Okay, in order. The drama triangle models an unhealthy pattern of relationships that, just like Bill would want it, starts with a victim. Or better said, a person that takes on the role of the victim on our geometrical stage. Now, I want to be incredibly clear. When we talk about the victim here, we are not discussing the pain, anger, and trauma caused by harmful events someone has been victim of. This model is not about judging people for being harmed. What the victim role describes is a specific psychological posture anyone can get stuck in, harm or not, a mindset of complete powerlessness and helplessness. When someone is in the victim role, their energy is completely consumed by their own pain, which they seek to relieve not by fixing the problems behind it, no matter how fixable, but by finding someone to blame for them. This could be either themselves, wallowing in self-pity, lamenting how their fundamental brokenness makes it impossible for them to change, which means they should not try. Or everyone but themselves, projecting fault outward, unable to see or refusing to confront their own part in creating or perpetrating a dynamic. Regardless of the chosen path, the result is the same. Blame takes the place where solutions could be, reinforcing the very feeling of powerlessness that keeps the victim stuck. Now, this description might sound harsh and bring up complicated, maybe mixed feelings. It might make you think of people you've interacted with online or in real life, or call to mind your own inner experience or the inner experience of someone you are close with. So, once again, I want to be clear. This description is not about labeling someone as a bad person who creates bad dynamics and is thus unworthy of love, care, or respect. What we're talking about here are not people. A victim is a role, a specific behavioral pattern anyone can slip in and out of, sometimes at different stages of their lives and sometimes even within the same argument, no matter their personal circumstances. Even further, we should acknowledge that a victim's behavior can come from real suffering and be adopted as a way to get care they genuinely need but don't know how to get, or to avoid the incredible pain that comes when we're forced to face our faults or our need to change. But while a victim may be struggling with mental health issues like depression, the focus here is not on their feelings, but on their pattern of blame. And above all, and this is critical for collaboration, understanding where the victim's behavior comes from doesn't negate its impact. Even when not driven by malice, the victim role can cause genuine harm. It drains the energy of those on the receiving end, makes honest communication impossible, and it creates a dynamic that can easily spiral into even more pain, stress, burnout, and sometimes outright trauma for those who end up caught in it. And now, to see who else shows up to help this triangle wind itself up into a spiral, let's meet another member. The persecutor, or more accurately, a person who takes on that role in our triangular drama. Now, just like the victim, let me be incredibly clear. When talking about a persecutor, we are not judging the truth behind their accusation or the validity of their anger. A persecutor might be pointing to real legitimate problems that are important to bring to light and call out, even when the discussion is uncomfortable. This model is not about silencing criticism. Once again, what the persecutor role describes is a specific psychological posture we might end up stuck in, a mindset rooted in anger and control that puts our need to be right above everything else. When someone is in the persecutor role, their focus shifts away from the problem. They're not seeking to find viable solutions, to understand the truth behind an issue, to achieve shared goals, or to change someone's mind. Their anger might be genuine and righteous, but what drives the persecutor is the need to externalize their pain, to wield blame and criticism as weapons to dominate, humiliate, and eventually emerge victorious. Like the description of the victim, this looks at the persecutor can bring up complicated feelings, especially because the anger it describes can be rooted in something real and painful, like past trauma or legitimate injustice. However, the model doesn't critique the anger itself, but the destructive behavioral pattern that can emerge from it. This distinction is vital for any collaborative effort. Empathizing with someone's pain does not mean accepting destructive behavior. Most often, the tactics of a persecutor do more than just silence dissent and punish vulnerability. They co-opt the very language of justice and harm, turning it into a weapon. This creates a toxic environment where true collaboration becomes impossible, and ultimately, while a persecutor may achieve a short-term victory for themselves, they make it harder for anyone else's pain to be heard and addressed. And with this, it's time for the last role in our triangle. Because where there's a victim and an attacker, there surely must be someone willing to don the armor, step on the saddle, and play the role of the white knight in shining armor, also known as the rescuer. At this point, I hope I've been clear that this model is not about criticizing the what, but the how. Once again, there is nothing wrong with the act of helping someone and extending them genuine kindness. And a person may be truly in distress and need protection or support. But while someone in the rescuer role might offer their help from a place of genuine care, their actions are ultimately not about relieving the pain of the one where they're helping, but about relieving the rescuer's own discomfort with witnessing or confronting that pain. The support a rescuer offers may indeed help someone, but it often only does so in the short term. After all, fixing a problem, really fixing a problem, sometimes requires us to push through the discomfort and maybe even take on more to address not just the immediate feeling, but the root cause. And a well-intentioned rescuer that shields others from any discomfort can inadvertently end up entrenching them into a cycle of helplessness, where they never push themselves to fully fix their issues or learn how to solve them without the rescuer's help. And this too is a huge problem for our collaborative efforts, because without being given the chance to struggle, fail, and work through their pain to get up again, people cannot achieve meaningful growth. This creates a fragile, unsustainable group, one that burns out its most capable members by forcing them to do all the heavy lifting, and one that can never truly solve its core problems if it requires causing people discomfort. And with this, the drama triangle is complete. Before we move forward, I have once again something to stress. I'm not bringing up the drama triangle here today to shame. These are roles, not people. Having been a victim, a persecutor, or rescuer, in a victim, persecutor, or rescuer role does not make someone a bad person. This is a popular model of common human behavior, and in a way, may the one who's never been a corner in the drama triangle cast the first stone. If I'm bringing the drama triangle up today, it's because the conditions we discuss, the loneliness, the loss of shared meaning, the collective trauma, create the perfect breeding ground for the drama triangle. When we feel hurt and powerless, when we're so justifiably angry at the state of the world, accidentally falling into this reactive role feels almost inevitable. And when we do, rather than coming together to work on problems we all share and care about, we get trapped in this. Unable to move, unable to effect change, stuck in a cycle of victimhood, blame, and fake solutions that relieve our pain temporarily without curing the root cause of our problems. And the thing is, the drama triangle is all around us. It was originally developed in the 1960s, and it has since been adopted to explain dynamics that happen within therapy sessions, families, companies, organizations, activist groups, classrooms, and many more. And when we look at the world of today, how often do we see people stuck in these roles? How much fandom drama is just a rehash of the triangle over and over? How often does this drama play on social networks, just with different protagonists and issues? And what do the algorithms that power our feeds reward more than the engagement created by victims, persecutors, and rescuers tearing each other apart? Once you have a name for the drama triangle, you'll see it everywhere, keeping ourselves, our community, and our society stuck as we fight each other instead of fixing our problem. And with this, the next important question: how do we escape the triangle? Believe it or not, we quickly touched on it at the end of last year's presentation. I blocked out the explanation because, well, spoilers. As you can see, there's three important aspects to talk about. I want to start with the last one because it's the core of exiting the triangle, something that no one can do for us, but that only we can do for ourselves: cultivating self-responsibility. Now, when I say responsibility, I wouldn't be surprised if this gave you a knee-jerk reaction. After all, how often have neurodivergent people, like many of us are, heard some variation of, "if only you learn to be more responsible"? I want to be clear. The responsibility we'll talk about here is not about fixing yourself to fit into the standards of a society that doesn't understand you and that doesn't care that it doesn't. Self-responsibility is not about blaming you for your faults. Self-responsibility is about agency, being responsible for your own power. Self-responsibility is about coming to understand who you are, who you truly are, seeing what your place in the world and community is, and taking responsibility for your actions and their outcomes. More precisely, self-responsibility is about coming to a clear vision of what your genuine needs are beyond what the world tells you they should be, what you can and cannot do given your current limits and capacities, what is part of your responsibility to yourself and others, and what is not for you to take on. Then, with this clarity, self-responsibility means taking ownership of your actions. It means assessing your own mental, physical, and time capabilities so you can be responsible for the outcomes of the promises you make. It means taking the time to understand what the group needs you to take on and what it needs you to let go. And it means doing the hard work of communicating your needs and limitations so others can work with you rather than against you, or to do the even harder work of compassionately but firmly showing them the door. If this seems like a lot of effort, it's because it is. And it's partly because it's so much effort that we cannot ask others to do it in our place. Not if we want our groups to succeed without burning out those who keep them running. The reality is that the work to become self-responsible is both hard and never-ending. It means learning how to set boundaries, how to be and hold others accountable, and how to welcome healthy, necessary discussion rather than shying away from it, even when confrontation might be painful. And above all, self-responsibility means doing what we need to do when we fail to live up to these ideals, whether by apologizing, making amends, or letting go of something that is not in our power to fix. Now, if some of these words triggered your fight or flight response, if they sound like platitudes and therapy speak, I get it. But this is not because these concepts are not fundamental to our ability to coexist. It's the very fact that we don't understand them, that we aren't taught how to use them, that has allowed victims, rescuers, and persecutors to co-opt their language, change their meaning, and twist these into weapons to attack each other rather than empower ourselves. I'd love to go deeper into the practice of this, but that's a whole set of workshops. In the meantime, let's go back to the other two pillars. The first one is mutual trust, where we approach each other believing we're good and capable, that we'll hold ourselves to our promises, and that we'll do what's necessary to take charge of our own issues. The second one is psychological safety, which is knowing that we can bring up our ideas and issues or take risks and fail without being belittled or attacked, even though we might miss the mark. Self-responsibility sits at the base of all this. When people behave in a self-responsible way, people come to trust that they do their part in maintaining a healthy, collaborative environment. This trust, then, not only makes them more likely to also behave so responsibly in turn, but it also creates an environment of psychological safety, where people know that they'll be treated fairly in accordance with self-responsible principles. The psychological safety lets us take risks, whether by attempting something we never attempted before, by taking on an impactful project even though it might fail, or by openly coming forward when we miss the mark. And while psychological safety doesn't mean absence of consequences, it means we can expect to be treated fairly and approached with respect and kindness. And not only does this environment further reinforce the trust we have for others, but by being able to admit our mistakes and learn from them, we continue building up the self-responsibility we need to keep the cycle going. And it's when all of this happens that the drama triangle loses its power over us. Because when we trust each other, we can state our needs and pains directly without looking to assign blame. We approach discussions constructively so that difficult conversation can truly change minds. And we don't feel the need to jump in to save everyone because we know they will find their own solution. Because when we're psychologically safe, we face the risk of failure head on and stop hiding behind powerlessness. And we understand blame, shame, and humiliations are not acceptable, thus removing the tools of persecutor and the need of rescuers. And because when we're self-responsible, we replace helplessness with agency, blame with ownership, and the need to save others with the joy of supporting them. And when this happens, our drama triangle changes form, although not shape, and becomes the empowerment triangle, a model of a healthy pattern of relationships that directly builds upon the one we've explored before. And just like the drama triangle started with someone taking the role of the victim, at the core of the empowerment triangle is another role, the creator. The role of a creator is not the role of an invincible hero with no problems or struggles or the strength to always get over them and push through. Quite the opposite. Someone in the creator role looks at the full reality of their situation, the good, the bad, and the painful, so they can understand their current capabilities and take ownership of their needs and obligations. The mindset of a creator is a mindset of agency. Where the victim is trapped by their problems, the creator is focused on what outcome they want to create given the circumstances. When a problem happens, a victim remains stuck in the why me. Instead, the creator listens to this feeling, acknowledges them as valid, feels them like it's important we do, maybe even wallows a little. And then a creator asks, where can I go from here, given the situation I'm in? And where do I want to go? A creator is not infallible, but at their best, they understand their present state and take ownership of the next step, big or small. Whether it means sending the really important email before clearing the schedule to spend a day eating ice cream on the couch, reaching out to a trusted friend for a pep talk before they go confront someone, so they won't let their anger take the best of them, or taking a single tentative step in an uncertain situation, even if they don't know what the outcome might be. A healthy group doesn't have just one creator. It's a role, not a permanent title, a role that different people can step in as needed. In our communities, creators are the ones who shift the focus of the group from problems to solutions. They model accountability instead of blame, build psychological safety through their actions, and generate the momentum needed to push shared goals forward. But creators do not act alone. Just like the drama triangle has three sides, so does the empowerment one. So let's see the flip corner of the persecutor. That is, the challenger. Just like the persecutor, the challenger is someone that sees issues clearly and speaks up about them. But unlike the persecutor, the challenger is not interested in winning arguments, punishing wrongdoings, or engaging in performative action. Quite the opposite. A challenger is someone who believes that constructing friction and accountability are essential for the growth and success of both individuals and the group as a whole. The mindset of a challenger is one of growth through integrity. Where the persecutor creates division and asserts dominance through blame, the challenger uses confrontation as an invitation to go deeper and do better. The persecutor asks, whose fault is this? Or why are you doing it wrong? The challenger asks, are our assumptions true? Or can our work be better? Or are our actions in alignment with the goals and values we share? But being a challenger is not about being a limitless source of energy for other people's growth. A skilled challenger uses their boundaries wisely, refusing to waste time on bad faith arguments or to offer infinite chances to those who don't take responsibility. And yet, within a group of allies, a challenger understands that approaching each other with high trust and expectations instead of suspicion creates the most powerful baseline for real change. In a group setting, challengers help ensure that the direction of the group is sound, their work is meaningful, and their values are respected. Challengers protect us from complacency and groupthink. By modeling how to rigorously test ideas without devolving into personal attacks, challengers help create a culture of growth and resilience, which makes our collectives more robust, more effective, and more safe. And now, our final role, the coach. Unlike the rescuer, the role of a coach is not to be the hero who swoops in to save the day. A coach isn't driven by a desire to fix someone else's pain or by the need to be needed. Nor do coaches believe they have all the answers. The coach understands that their job isn't to carry someone across the finish line, but to help that person discover how they can finish the race themselves if they truly wish to finish the race. The mindset of a coach is one of empowerment through curiosity. Where the rescue gives away answers, the coach asks powerful questions to help people find their own. The rescuer says, "Here, let me do that for you." The coach asks, "What do you think your next step should be? Or what support do you need to figure this out?" A coach has a deep, unwavering belief in a person's ability to find their own way. They are a trusted advisor who sits in your corner as you face your own challenges, one that might help you notice the obstacles in your way before you smash face first into them, one that might help you figure out how to get yourself back together after your unceremonious face planting, or the one that gives you the push you need to finally fix your damn glasses and stop running into things. In a group setting, coaches ensure that people have the support they need to continue growing their confidence and skills. They mentor members, facilitate learning, and foster an environment where it's safe not to know the answers yet. By nurturing the members of a group, coaches turn individual growth into a shared asset that pushes the collective forward. And with this, our empowerment triangle is complete. Now, I want to be clear. Just like the drama triangle, these are roles, not permanent identities. Even further, a person who embodies the creator, challenger, or coach may still fall back into drama triangle's roles. Maybe because they're in a vulnerable place, because they're exhausted, triggered, or simply because no one can always be their best self every time, all the time. But here self-responsibility comes into play again. Just like it helps creators use their ability to fulfill their own needs and responsibility, helps challengers navigate the difficult path of constructing confrontation, and helps coaches support others without fixing issues that are not theirs to fix. Self-responsibility also helps us self-correct when we fail to live up to this ideal. When we are self-responsible, we understand that having been part of the drama triangle or any similarly problematic shape doesn't make us bad people. Failure is not a reason to wallow in shame and despair. When we are self-responsible, we don't endlessly bash ourselves for making mistakes, but instead we ask, what can I do to remedy the hurt I've caused, if it is my place to do so? And we ask, what do I need to learn so that next time I hear the call of the treacherous geometry, I can look it in the face and say, not today, Bill. Because the truth is that the work needed to reach self-responsibility is never ending. And so is the work to break through the cycle of guilt, blame, anger, resentment, and the missed expectations that keep us divided. Learning to bring our best selves to our communities so we can shape them together is a bit like being a shonen protagonist. A lot of training arcs, a lot of getting your ass kicked, a lot of believing in the power of friendship, and if you're lucky, Sasuke is there. But jokes aside, it's time for the final and most important question. Will this fix everything? Well, the truth is, I don't know. Ooh. I would love nothing more than to stand here at the Yaoi conference and tell you the secret way to fix all the geopolitical and humanitarian issues that plague the world. No, really, I think it would be hilarious. If I found out what the answer is, I swear I'll come to CitusCon to tell you, and that there will be at least one Tumblr sexyman on the slides. But realistically, no one has the answer we seek. And that's part of what makes the world of today so terrorizing and out of control. It's part of what keeps us at each other's throat, howling in pain as we hope that someone will do something. And God, why won't anyone do something? I don't know. But here is what I know. When you look at self-responsibility, the most important concept of today, it shows that the way to fix our collective doesn't start from trying to control the outside, what others do. It starts from the inside, from understanding who we are and how we can do our part to change what we can't control without destroying ourselves in the desperate struggle to fix what we can't. In the same way, the work of fixing the whole world outside is impossibly large. But the work of fixing how we connect with each other inside our communities is right here, right now, and entirely within our grasp. What I believe is that regardless of what our future shapes up to be, regardless of what the other side of this whole mess looks like, even if we can stop every single issue in the incessant barrage coming at us, we'll be stronger, happier, and in a better place if we can create our own sources of meaning, trust, and connection in this world, so that we can grow and nurture them together, and they can grow and nurture us back in return. Because eventually, it's by learning who we are and what we are capable of within the safe space of these shared institutions that we'll be able to truly see what our place in the larger fight is and to own our responsibility within it. And with this, I'm done. So don't forget to sign up for our newsletter, check out our web development thread in the Discord for help with making your own website, and to go to that same thread and give us feedback on our latest coding guides. And last but not least, if this talk has been enlightening, it would be super literal cash money of you to throw us some on Patreon, so that we can hire amazing fandom artists, writers, and developers, and I can spend less time herding cats and more time shoving sexy villains into Comic Sans PowerPoints. And with this, fair warning. I've had an intense few weeks, I'm sleep deprived, and I'm high on giving a talk energy. So I am preemptively abdicating any responsibility for what I say in this Q&A. Bring it on, and I'll do my best. I'm looking at the chat finally. That's not very self-responsibility of you, Miss Boba. I'm like, that's the joke. No, but okay. It is self-responsible because I'm warning you. I know my limit, and my limit is when I am sleep deprived and stressed, I babble and say things. And so you should not trust me. I am saying things, but don't believe her lies. No questions, just hype, and no questions, just hope. Okay, so you're saying is we have 12 minutes and I just continue blabbing. This panel was both validating and enlightening. Thank you, I am very glad. Miss Boba the goat. It's more like a raccoon. Does Fujocoded have a coffee? Theoretically, if you go to my website, I have a link for a coffee that someone someone like, I don't know if they liked or something, and I got an email and was like, right, that used to be a thing. Probably you can throw something there. I don't know. Just come to the chat. Really, that is the question I'm here to answer. How do you give you money? It's like, I don't know. You come to me and we'll find a way. I can ask you questions about Beyblade if you want. I want the Beyblade question, please. What panels are you looking forward to? Oh, bold of you to think I had like the time to look at panels. The panel I'm most looking forward to is called The Bed. And a restful night and a night of full sleep. No, but jokes aside, I'm going to be hanging out in the in our web development panel, probably doing some work, and come read our guides, because we hired some fantastic fandom writers to write them, and yeah, we're trying to do that type of hire from your community, get them to do things, get the community to give feedback, and positive cycle. So if you come give us feedback, hopefully we can get like this whole thing working out very cool. Recent BL you recommend? Oh man. Okay. There's two different ways to approach this. One is the real tragedy here is that I have been so busy doing this whole thing for BL fandom, that the amount of time I have to dedicate to actually looking at BL or fan fiction is very, very low. The other way of doing it, I'm like, well, I guess Husband Hotel is a pretty good BL. So, if not, Death Stranding 2 is coming out, and I'm like, I haven't read, I haven't played it yet, but I do know Kojima, and what greater Fujoshi than Kojima. Did you watch original Beyblade? Not fully. I have seen so much yaoi of the original Beyblade when I was coming up, but I was more of a Yu-Gi-Oh person, so I never really watched it. Do you own any Robin Hood ships yourself? Yes, I do. I own... What do I own? Didn't I own the one seller? No, who was it? There was something with Adachi from Persona 4 and JD from Headers, which I feel like is saying a lot. I own the Steins Gate ship, Okarisu. And I do have other ships I want, but I have a rule that no, I cannot buy them for myself. So if you are like, oh, I want to give Miss Boba directly, you want Miss Boba to have a new ship, please let me know. I have a couple that I'm like, I need that. But my rule, you talked about regaining open community again. What are some ritual or things you do to keep your own hopeful momentum, to keep yourself responsible? That's an interesting question. I guess one ritual is having 4 Discord chat opens at the same time, where I can be like, oh my god, have you seen this? And just vent to friends privately, and have them give me their honest opinions about situation. Some of it is complaining, but some of it is like, okay, got it out of my system, what do I do here? Or some of it is like, am I right? Am I wrong? It's really just a matter of balancing the fact that I know the world I want to build, and I have come and try to build it. And if I want that world to exist, I know what I must do. I know that I need to keep myself honest, that I need to try to do my best, and so I think that I wouldn't underestimate the power of having friends that are insightful, and what you can achieve if you actually let them tell you when you're being, as Reddit would say, you are the asshole. And then you grow, even if it's painful. How do you resist the call of the drama triangle roles? I feel myself slipping into it quite a few times. You practice, and you apologize. I mean, you don't apologize but like, I think the biggest risk with drama triangle roles is that we are so ashamed of having slipped into them once we recognize to see them, that we're like, I don't want to open that memory. I'm going to block it and pretend it didn't happen. And like, that makes sense in a way, and you don't have to dwell on it. But as I was saying, you ask yourself the question of, okay, how do I not do it again? Or, yeah, like something like that. There's wallowing and there's constructive thinking. And so you try to keep yourself honest, find friends that don't just validate your feelings, that will let you know when you miss the mark again. And then, like, really, man, sometimes I'm really exhausted and people have been testing me for months, and something comes and happens and I'm like, not at my best. It is just what it is. But the more you practice, the less this will happen. What would you suggest to someone who wants to return to the lovely cringe, positive mindset and approach with new cities, but it's all like being devoured by the capitalist mind gobbling of, oh, be presentable and clean? Because that's what I'm struggling with, and I don't even know where to begin and what to talk about. I think it depends. It kind of, there are some general things I'll say, but I will also say it depends on the situation, right? Because if you are trying to be so me, for example, the terrible situation I'm on is I am trying to do things, and I've come to do like this that you see, and I have come to realize that I have to be as presentable and clean as I need to be, so that I can get away with certain things and still achieve what I'm trying to achieve. So if you have like something you need to do, you need to think about what does make sense for you. But with that said, I think what I eventually realized doing this is that I can be more of a gremlin than I thought 5 years ago when I started. It has taken me a while to get there, and some of it was, finding the right people, like building credibility so that I could be a gremlin and people would be like, okay, but look, she has done stuff, so it's okay, we'll take her jokes about cat boys. But yeah, so it depends on like what you're doing, and sometimes you may be thinking that you need to be proper less than you actually more than you actually need to be. And with that said, like, just separate your identities. You have there are multitudes inside you, and so I think there can also be multitudes of you on the internet, and you present, you have your I have my work persona. This is what I call my work persona, and then I have my degenerate account that all of you should not know about and will never know about if I ever say in it. But yeah, those are separate. You get to talk to me, and the other one, you maybe get to interact with me, but you don't get to know who I am. that's how it was this. Any techniques for being able to catch yourself being a part of the drama triangle in the moment? Breathe. I don't know. Part of it, I think part of the drama triangle is adrenaline, right? You're like, you aren't thinking, like, some pain, adrenaline, like things, you are like, you can see your pulse racing, you can see yourself literally losing your mind and like having the emotions. And so some of it is recognize that it's okay to take a step back. You can be like, okay, I am 1 second. Let's pause the conversation. I'm gonna go take a walk. I'll come back, clear my mind, and then we'll talk. That's like also what setting boundaries is, right? It's just saying, I'm not in the right mindset. Do you mind if we pause a little bit? But again, some of it is practice, and some of it is like, if you're starting to feel that way, it's not you don't have to be ashamed. You recognize it, and then you take ownership of like, oh, this is how I was behaving. Okay, let me figure out how not to do it anymore. Here's another one. Do you ever feel a buildup of shame for your unfinished or abandoned projects? And how do you cope with feeling like a failure when your interests drastically shift and something you were excited about now just feels blah? So first of all, I have so many unfinished and abandoned projects. We're at time basically. I'll be quick. I'll try to be quick. I have so many unfinished and or abandoned projects. So the way I see it is nothing is ever really abandoned. They are just not the priority right now. And I hope they can become again. But there is no shame in having unfinished or abandoned projects. You take what you can from them. You've learned this is not they are not the right projects for you right now. That's fine. Take what you learned there and go do something that is very productive. And when you feel your interest drastically shift and something you were excited about and just feels blah, the thing I take issue like quotes here with is just like, it's not a failure. It's your interest has shifted and something you were excited about and it just feels blah. That is a statement. That's what happened. And it's not like you're failing. That's just something that happened, and it can be said. Like sometimes, like, oh, I was so looking forward to that, and now I'm like, oh, it sucks. But that doesn't make you a failure. It just sucks. And I think we are at time. So
Yes, we are. Well, thank you so much, Miss Boba. It was wonderful having you here.
thank you.
All right. Well, hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see y'all later. Bye bye.
Bye.